Coach, welcome in. Thanks for being with us. It's Jay Barker, Lars Anderson, Trent Richardson, and Antonio Langham. Thanks for being with us.
Great to be with you guys, man. Awesome.
So are you excited to get back to some kind of normalcy and get back to doing what you love to do, and that's coach football, because it's just been a crazy time?
Yeah, man, what a year. I mean, I can't wait to get back. It doesn't look like we're going to get back until training camp, all this virtual teaching. But, man, those reps on the field for the young players, I really feel bad for the young players trying to make the ball club, rookies, undrafted free agents that missed all the spring.
Coach, can you give us just a little bit of background on how you landed Tom Brady? Did you start free agency thinking that Tom Brady could eventually come to Tampa Bay, or just how did that all transpire?
Yeah, I mean, we do our due diligence every year. You look at who might be a free agent, and there were quarterbacks names that were out there this year that you would never ever think would be on the free agent market. So we evaluated them all, see if anything was better than what we had in Jameis Winston, and we felt like Tom was obviously the cream of the crop. Once he decided to leave New England, we made a phone call, and it really, he interviewed me as hard as I interviewed him, and I knew he was very interested, and if he was going to leave New England, I thought we'd have a great shot.
Coach, real quick, did he read our book, The Quarterback Whisperer?
I don't think he's read it yet, no.
All right, we'll have to get him a copy.
Yeah, it'll be mandatory.
Coach, how you doing, man? It's Trent Richardson. Real quick, Coach,
what's going on,
when do you think you're going to sign a vet running back to get in there with Tom? I'm just messing with you. But yeah, how everything been going with you, Coach, with all this, COVID stuff, man, and how difficult have it been, when not being able to get with those rookies and those free agencies that's out there on the free agent market?
Yeah, I mean, those guys haven't even had physicals yet. It's crazy, by now, we do something different. We practice on two fields, kind of like way back in college. So our rookies normally would get 400 reps in the spring, and this year they haven't had any. And, we're dependent on some of those guys to play major roles for us. So it's really hard. I mean, it's one thing to get virtual reps on a computer, but it's not the same as a walkthrough in practice, that. And so that team building time, too, that we're missing, that we've had all these years, you spend all that time out there together sweating and gaining camaraderie and accountability to each other. We're missing all that stuff.
Coach, if you was in a situation like Miami and they got, Tua, would you play him this year, or would you sit him out for the rest of the year, or you'll see if he was just ready, dealing with everything?
I think it all depends on his health. If he's healthy, I'm playing it. I don't think you learn anything holding a clipboard. I had Peyton Manning his first year, Andrew Luck his first year. Ben was one of those guys that went in by accident because Tommy Maddox got hurt, but you miss all the practice reps. You miss the game reps. I don't know what you learn holding a clipboard watching.
Hey, Coach, Antonio Langham here. Here's your $1 million question. With all the hype of you guys winning the Super Bowl this year, how do you keep the city, the fans, and your players focused without buying into all the hype?
I think you embrace it. Don't back off of it. Then put it to bed. It's I talk about the process all the time, the daily grind. You set goals, and then you start going to work. And if we're not getting our work done, those things aren't going to happen. You got to get Monday's work done, Tuesday's work done. So respect the process of weekly work and daily work, and those things can happen.
I love your, and again, we're visiting with Bruce Arians, head coach of the Buccaneers. I love your philosophy, no risk it, no biscuit. You can't live scared. And Carson Palmer's talked many times about how that philosophy really allowed him to go out there and just let the ball rip. As a coach, understanding, and even in the book, The Quarterback Whisperer, and understanding what a quarterback needs as far as, and what you really want to see in a quarterback. Talk about those things, what you want to see as a coach that makes you go after that particular guy to be your quarterback, and what you think makes those quarterbacks so successful?
I think the two things that are the hardest things to evaluate, and that's the heart and the brain. That's what makes a quarterback. There's all kind of different guys that had arm strength, no arm strength, that play great. I wouldn't say Johnny Unitas had a great arm, but he was a great quarterback. So I think you have to be smart. You have to be tough. You have to have what I call grit. And that ends up giving you a chance to lead. And if you can't lead, I don't think you can play that position. And, I get criticized sometimes for talking about college football where the quarterback's never in the huddle, never calling a play. He's just kicking his foot up and catching the ball and throwing it. I think they're missing out on some of that leadership skill.
Coach, when you looked at the film of Tom Brady last year, what did you see? Did you see any drop in his play?
Well, he's not the guy he was 15 years ago or 10 years ago, but he's still a great player. I was very impressed with his deep ball accuracy. He still gets it out of his hand fast. He's an extremely bright guy. He's going to put you in the right plays. He's not going to turn the ball over. Did a great job in their play action game, which we love also. So he fits a lot of things we do, He's going to throw it to the open guy, and that's what quarterbacks do.
And Coach, do you think it's going to be beneficial for Jameis Winston, who obviously you had last year, to go to New Orleans and just learn from Drew Brees for a year? And then I know you think the world of Jameis, and obviously he's from the local area, the Birmingham area. So a lot of our listeners across Alabama are following his career. Where do you think Jameis can go, and what do you think he can learn from Drew Brees and being in Sean Payton's offense?
Yeah, I think for sure, he's going to learn a lot from Drew. Fitzpatrick did a great job helping him when he was with him the last couple of years. Blaine Gabbert helped him last year, but I think learning another system is always hard when you've been in the same one for a few years and similar styles. But I think Jameis has all the talent in the world, and he's a great young man. No one outworks him, that's for sure.
Hey, Coach, I have another question, Antonio here. Have you watched Tiger King yet?
No, I haven't.
Because we are convinced that if you ask Lars to watch Tiger King, he will. We have been trying to get him to watch Tiger King for 3 months. So text him after the show and say, Lars, watch Tiger King, and I'm sure he'll watch it.
These guys are really into...
Hey, Coach, be careful.
Coach,
be careful for them Tigers out there, man. Kerry Basson ain't walking down there if you know who that is. Watch Tigers.
Oh, yeah.
Bruce, what do you enjoy doing outside, like hobbies outside of football, and really even also like the type of music do you like?
Well, yeah, I'm an avid golfer. That's about the last thing I can compete at. I used to play a lot of racquetball until I tore my knees up. And musically, I'm very eclectic. I grew up on Motown, and I was not a Beatles fan, but I learned to love rock and roll in the 70s. I love Jersey Shore rock and roll, and I've gotten to where I really love country. So whatever the mood hits, I'm good.
Bruce, we've talked about this before, but I'd love for you to share the story with the audience that you were on Bear Bryant's final staff, and what did you learn from Bear, and also just going into that final game. You've told me that the one of the few times in your life you were nervous was going into that final game with Bryant and making sure that he went out a winner.
Oh gosh, you learn something every day from Coach Bryant because he was a master of people. He was just the best at personnel. People don't realize we played 66 players in every game, and he substituted every single one. If you want to get fired, try to send somebody across that sideline. You get your ass fired real quick. And but the the last thing he told me when I went off to be the head coach at Tampa was coach them hard and hug them later. And, man, that's been my philosophy ever since. If it's not right, we're going to correct it. Sometimes it's going to come out ugly, but I'm talking about your football, and I'm talking about you as a person. So I'll come back and find you later and make sure everything's good. But, yeah, he was a master, and to me, still the greatest of all time.
Do you ever miss coaching college football, or do you enjoy the NFL game better?
No, because I can't stand rookies, let alone freshmen.
And the recruiting process. Gosh, I mean, the recruiting's got to be so different than NFL. You don't have to go out and get people doing that for you.
Yeah, you buy them legally, but in the NFL. But I enjoy meeting the families and meeting the guys and watching them grow. That part of college football was fun.
Hey, well, it's been great stuff. We really appreciate you coming on. But I love that last comment. I won't say it, but that was really good as far as getting them in. But Bruce Arians, thanks so much for joining us here and having some fun with us today. And man, look forward to the season. Wish you guys nothing but the best this coming up season.
Appreciate it, guys. Have a blast, man.